Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope you're doing fabulous. If you're brand new around here, my name is Scott Mendenhall. This is our church service online. There's a lot of people tuning in from all over the world, which is lovely. I have some really good friends. I feel like, Joey, it's been a while.
It has been a while. And
Joey,
it is great.
Like you have a banana on the far side of your...
No one can see that.
I know, but I can. It's an uneaten... Like, let's go to the wide shot and see if you can see this uneaten... Oh, it's still out of the shot.
That's right.
Why did you bring a banana just to put on your desk and not eat
banana. Because I'm going to eat it later. I
didn't want to eat a banana on...
I was like, I didn't eat breakfast. Crazy. Kind of really not that crazy, but somewhat crazy. And... So I was like, I'm going to eat it after this while I go to main service. That way, because I'm not going to be eating until like 12:30. So.
Yes, I understand that. Lily, she's the queen of, she's on the other side as well in her lime green
just had to be
coat
bright today.
thing.
I like bright
Like,
colors.
how many coats you got over there?
I got
You
two.
have that, and then, like, it's not that cold.
I just don't like being cold.
Okay. Okay, so here's the funny thing about Lily. She would bring the banana in just like you, but she would eat it when she's not on camera, and that's where you hear the num 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 num.
I would. I too.
During service?
Well, I forgot.
In person or here. I hear it all the time when we have headphones on. You can hear.
Ew.
That's
really,
you.
I guess I've never even
do
like
do that.
realized that.
Yeah, pay
I
attention.
forgot my breakfast, so I have a bar over here, but I forgot my oats.
I've heard her like.
Your
Ew,
oats.
you
Yeah,
freak.
it's not good. All right, and then we got Dwayne. How we doing, Dwayne? All the way down in the SIP.
Good morning, good morning. The birds are chirping.
Yes, it's
We're ready
beautiful.
to go.
You do appear. We already know this, but for everyone, it appears that you think it's chilly as well where you are. You got a coat on.
Yeah. I mean, it's been very rainy here, so it's overcast. It's maybe in the 40s. So.
Okay, I like it. Lily is sound checking as well. If you hear some echoes and stuff, we are having small technical problems today where we can't hear Dwayne in our headphones, so we're using the TV across the studio to hear him. Apologize if you hear a delay or echo. Those are some of the things that we are just working on. But it's good to see Katie, Momo. Is it Katie? Yeah, just Katie.
Kate and Momo.
And there you go. We got Dan who says, "Come on, let's get it started."
Come on.
I had to get my hair done, Dan. I had to get my hair done.
Yeah.
Done did.
I had to get my makeup done.
Yeah.
I had to get some hairs trimmed.
Oh my gosh. That's too much. That's way too much information. I can't even handle that. Oh, we do have a new bride. She got married last week. I see
She's in the
Kaylee.
chat.
She's probably on the beach right now.
Are watching, but he's on her account chatting.
So that's him.
That's him. It's very obvious that it's him.
Oh, because
Why do you
like
say that?
that's what Elizabeth Dwayne's wife would do. Use his name. It gets very confusing. You have to keep up around here. Who's like ghosting?
Yeah, it's a thing. I guess
It's
when
a
you get
thing.
married, you have each other's accounts.
Yeah, I mean but that you know why? Like this
The two
is not
become one.
Just
why.
like, here's my phone.
Well, Holly and I, we
That's
have
what I
jacked
think.
up phones because we have crossed something,
guys have
and so
jacked that
like
up.
she gets all my texts
For sure.
and I get hers, and it's very confusing. Like I'm like,
heck?
why is this person texting me? I didn't say anything to them, and they're like mid conversation, and so Holly, it's awesome. It's very confusing. At the
Yeah,
same
that
time.
sounds very confusing.
It is very confusing, but hey,
At least-
we are managing. It's like this. You experienced the other day, but I never got the reply. So Lily and Haley helped out with some stuff around the house on Thursday, and like midnight, I texted those two. I said, "Hey, thanks for all of the work you did in the house."
That was from Holly.
No, that was from me. That's my point.
That was from Holly.
No, it was not. It was from me. That's the problem with the phone. It came from me. She got the reply, though. And she's like, why are they saying this to me? I didn't say anything. And it was my phone
I
texted,
see.
you replied, and it went to her phone.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Very
phone
weird.
issues.
At least you didn't have any, like Michaela this week. We were, I don't know, we were screwing around, and I hit her phone out of her hand, and it flies behind her into the sink with a bunch of water in it.
And it still works.
And it works, but hopefully it continues to work.
Wow, trick shot.
It was crazy. I wish it was on video, actually.
You do?
Yeah. It would have been funny. It would have been something good it just would have been good.
Okay,
Are
this
you
is
testing out the text message thing or something?
me. I'm looking to see the text I sent to you just to prove that it was me that sent it because she's saying it wasn't you. Look, there it is. I sent it. You thought it was Holly. Good thing you didn't disclose Scott's really.
That's what someone said in
bothering
the
me.
chat.
Yes, yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
text Holly anything Scott shouldn't see.
Why? Everything she knows and sees, she shares with me. So, okay, here's a question. Here's a question for everybody in the chat since we're on the cell phone bit. Some of you probably this has already happened to you, so you're going to say, I did. But if you dropped your phone in the toilet after going to the bathroom,
I have a good story about this.
would you get it back out or would you leave it?
I would get it.
You would.
Oh yeah, I'd put my hand in poop. It's whatever.
So
I mean, come on. I'm just being.
Let's make it a little bit more.
I mean, that's
specific.
disgusting. But
It
like,
is,
I
it
would
is.
I would grab my phone to try to save.
I would grab my phone.
You
That
would?
is-
Yes.
I think,
Now,
I think I'd leave it.
no, you wouldn't.
No,
I
you
think I would.
No,
You
you would
would?
get someone else to grab it. You would.
I
ask-
would do that. That
you
is
would
probably more
ask
true.
You'd be like,
I would-
Lily, come
Fire,
here.
Greatness,
I
one of the
know.
younger
I wouldn't
kids.
have one of my kids. I'd go,
come over to
Lily.
the office.
I go, Lily, how
I
much
would-
do you love me?
I would grab it.
I'd probably go, Lily, remember that one time I did this thing for you?
Yeah, I would grab it for sure.
Okay.
I would
His
just
out of
close
his.
my eyes.
You'd grab his. I don't know if I would grab his.
I
Like
would
if it
do
was
it.
his stuff.
How about you? How about you, Dwayne? You draw a line on phones and toilets, or would you rescue?
I don't know. Like what Joey's like, somebody else's. I don't know if I would grab that. Like you're on your own, bro. Like love you, but mine, like mine, yeah. Like I guess can't be a dad for so long, and then it's like okay, be so bothered by poop.
Well, something's broken with me. I've been a dad for a long time.
That's true. Elizabeth makes a
You're
good
like
point.
mine.
She wouldn't be able to hold it up to her face anymore.
Right. That's my problem. Is knowing that this fella. I don't care
can
what
get-
I like. I would bleach the mess out of this
You
thing,
could get
and then
one of
it
those
still wouldn't work.
sanitizers that you put the phone in the box.
Nope. I'd come out of the stall. I'd ask to see Holly's phone, and I would erase that phone.
Yeah, I mean, no, we're good.
You just
You trade it in.
Yeah, I'm just.
You can
this is
get
too
it
much
out and then
information.
trade
Too
it
much
in.
information. Joey's like, I've done this, guys.
No, I haven't done it, but like maybe it depends on the type of poop too.
Oh my god.
Okay, listen.
That's disgusting.
I can't even heart that right now.
Even I think that's gross.
Well, I'm just saying it. Just saying. Everyone knows what I'm saying.
Everyone knows.
Just saying.
In a
So
porta potty,
my-
immediately no. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Jordan,
forgot about that one.
that's
No way.
so gross.
There's no way.
Oh my gosh. We gotta move on. I'm getting
I know.
sick.
For everyone that, like, you're.
Yeah,
you
the
got-
porta potty.
You got.
I'm getting queasy.
Okay, Lil says she has a story.
I do.
I think this is
But
more of a
there's
girl
no
thing.
poop. There's no poop in
That's
it.
okay. We didn't need poop. But I do think this is more of a woman thing, like
That it happens to us.
drops into the toilet more often than guys.
Why?
Because I think you guys have it in the back pocket, and then you go to do your business,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it falls out of the back pocket right into the toilet.
That's true.
Like, that's how I've heard it go down most of the time. So
That's just-
let's hear the story.
Okay, I was in high school.
Oh, this that long ago? I want more recent.
My brother and I had asked for iPhones for Christmas, and I remember. Now I'm not condoning this behavior, but I remember my dad sitting us down and being like, "We're just not going to be able to make it work this year." It was so serious, and so I believed him. The night before Christmas, I went to the bathroom and I was wearing like an oversized hoodie, and I had put my phone in my hoodie pocket. I had a phone, but it was like a flip phone or something. And I had a phone, and I got up from peeing, turned around to flush the toilet, phone slid right out of that hoodie pocket, right into the pee water as it was like, flushing. And so I grabbed the phone out, put it in rice, didn't work. And I was so sad that I was like, my dad said that we weren't going to get the phones. And I just was like out of luck. And then the next morning, we woke up. There were 2 gifts under the tree. My brother opens his, and they were socks. And we were like, yikes, they're really struggling this year. So then I opened mine up, and it's a bathing suit. And then the next thing I know, Sam like holds up a sock, and an iPhone comes out. And I was like, what? You got a phone? And I didn't. Dad told me he wasn't going to make it work. I don't have this bathing suit. And then I found mine.
Why are you getting so high pitched, Sonic-y sound there?
'Cause that was actually what happened. That was the story. That was the story. I dropped my phone in the toilet only for the next day. There's a teaching lesson out of that. Just be patient. You don't always get what you want, but you never know. Sometimes you do.
Yeah, just say that to yourself sometimes. Be patient. I told Lily the other day because she was not being patient about something in details for the wedding, and I said, I think what's going to happen is God's going to give you triplets to teach you patience.
Yeah, I got real quiet then. I was like, okay, whatever.
I wasn't wishing that on her, but I just know that God uses other people to teach us so many spiritual things.
Yeah, he's going to teach me 3. Or give me
Three children will give you a massive dose of patience or insanity, either one. But we'll be there right there with you.
Be careful what you wish. Yeah, exactly. Be careful what you wish for, because you'll be right there with me, and I'm gonna be insane for a season.
That's okay.
And it won't be pleasant.
We understand
It'll be
that.
crazy.
I do like Elizabeth. I believe this is Elizabeth. It wouldn't be Dwayne, so I think this is really Elizabeth Nichols. I never leave my phone in my back pocket while I'm using the bathroom, though, because I so paranoid. I will leave it on a table in a public space before I would take in the stall and keep it in my pocket.
Meanwhile, I'll if I don't have pockets, I'll tuck it under my chin and just do whatever I need to do and really risk it. Because I like something that keeps me living life on the edge.
Yeah, you do.
I really do.
This is totally a Minnesota thing, and then we're going to move on. But these guys go out ice fishing, and you drill a hole. And what they do is they usually are wearing some kind of snow pants, and they put their phone in the pocket here, or sometimes the snow bibs have it here, and they lean over to get the fish, and this goes bloop, bloop into the hole. That's a bummer, because there's no getting that back. It's over. It's just, you just watch it go down. There's something about a phone, the way it falls in deep water, it slices right through it, but it's not straight. It kind of does one of these little things, and you just watch it, and there it is. It's like when it's through ice, and you can see it, because you're in the water's pretty clear, because the water's not moving and stirring stuff up, so you can get a light and see down 10 feet and see your phone sitting there. What are you going to do? Go get it and hope that it still works?
It's not working.
No.
Well, I do say, Collins, my father-in-law, he dropped his phone in one fishing season off a dock. Same situation, leaned to get in the boat, fell out. I knew I was going to get it because the sea need me to need, right? I saw the need, but I was like, I'm going to let the day warm up, Collins. It's freezing right now. I'm not going to go get it. So we went and fished, caught a bunch of fish. We came back, and I got in the water. My lips turned purple because it was so cold. It took me forever to find it, but I got it, and it worked.
Really?
Yeah, it had an outer box case on it or something, so you know how that is. Okay, so if you're brand new around here, we don't just talk about porta potties and phones. That's just kind of get the day started, getting everybody in the chat. So good morning again to Tori Briggs. Good to see his name in there. Good to see, as I already said, to Elizabeth, good morning to her. Cool to see Marnie in there, who was trying to talk my wife into, I think, a small pygmy. What are the little horses?
Pygmy goats?
No, horse. Small horse? Little horse?
A pony?
No, a miniature horse. Mini horse.
Mini horse.
Talking us into one of those because apparently they have a couple. And chickens. I don't know about that. I go back and forth on the chicken bit. And my problem with the small pony, it's like
What's the use?
it's like a stat. It's like what I can't ride it.
Right.
It doesn't really eat my grass fast enough to. So why would I want that? It's something else I have to take care of.
Yeah.
Now, unless they're entertaining, like I could get a fainting goat. I think they would be hilarious to have. Have you ever seen those?
A goat?
No, but it's got to be a fainting goat.
A fainting?
Fainting.
Fainting. Why would you want a fainting goat?
They're hilarious. You go up to them, you scare them, and they just fall over. At least there's some kind of entertainment.
Yeah, I guess.
You've never seen this?
I've never seen a fainting goat. No.
Oh my gosh!
I've seen a goat. I've seen
Really?
a goat giving birth
I've never done that.
Why have you seen that?
because I knew someone that had goats, and I happened
To be there when
yeah.
nature was
It was
happening.
pull it out?
it was actually
Did you pull it
pretty
out?
cool.
Did you pull it out? The
No,
goat?
I didn't.
You
I think he
should,
asked me if I. No, I didn't. It was just.
I watched somebody. Hey,
Joey's
wait,
face.
speaking of pulling out like stuff, birth, I watched somebody put chains around a cow's legs and pulled the cow out.
Oh.
Yeah, epic, right? You saw that? Wild. It was. It's something.
said
He
it was
says it's something. It's full grown, two adults pulling this cow out of another cow. It was with chains.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, don't try it at home. You gotta be a trained professional. Okay, this is now turned into National Geographic. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch. We're gonna get a song going, and then we're gonna get into one of probably the most famous stories when it comes to dreams. It's Joseph. We're going to read in Genesis chapter 37, and we're going to just start reading the beginning of Joseph's story. You're going to get a lot of context, who he is. It's just a very famous story. So if you've never heard it, it's going to be pretty cool for you to hear it. If this is your 100th time hearing it, or millionth because you grew up in the church and you remember it on a flannel board, cool. We're going to make it really hopefully interesting for you and pull from it some points for us to keep dreaming on, because we want to be dreamers. We want to dream. Like, I remember growing up singing dream big dreams and accomplish great things.
Nice.
We can't allow life to suck us from our energy. There are those seasons that you have, but they can't be where you stop. You got to get out of those. And so we'll talk more about that right after we do. Find Me at Your Feet is a great place to find yourself when you are in one of those moments of stuck. You're in the storm and you're like, I can't dream. Well, the way you get through the storms much more successful is to be honestly where you put yourself and your stuff at the feet of Jesus and say, help me. Right? That's I know it sounds so simple, and it really is that simple. It's just a commitment of yourself to do that. We'll talk more about that as well. Here is Find Me at Your Feet. We'll be right back to have the conversation. Get your Bibles out. Go to Genesis 37, and we'll start reading right after this. Enjoy.
I don't know what I'm bringing. Some days I don't know what to pray. But if there's anything I know where I'm meant to be. I'm bringing. So find me at your feet. I knew before I came. And I'm here and I don't wanna leave. So find me at your feet.
That's a great song. We got some technical difficulties we're still trying to fight through. I'm sure we'll get them better. I was gifted, for those that don't know what a flannel board is, you're like, what is this this technology you speak of? It is this. This is where old school, this was before iPads, where you would just make a story of little felt guys like, oh, this tiger came over to eat this pink flamingo. And then you move it, felt. It's just literally flannel. And you stick characters to it. So when I say felt board, it was just given to me a couple weeks ago. Have you ever seen one of these?
Now I have.
You had never, right?
No, I mean, no.
You're wearing a flannel shirt, like we could literally take.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I have. I don't remember, but I know. I mean, it's just like a. Oh, did you give me one?
Yeah, there's one right there for you. You get to see it. Lil, here's
Yeah,
your,
I feel like maybe like when I was like
Have you ever
super young
seen
and
one
like
of these?
in
This
Sunday
is
school or
adorable.
something.
little flannel boards going around the studio today. We fight with modern technology. You know, the worst part about this technology, and this was cutting edge in the 70s, is that things fall off. That's when the tiger just doesn't stick right, and you're like, oh, down goes the tiger. Look, he's just fall.
You just have these on hand?
I was gifted to me on Easter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Donna Lee gave me flannel boards because I talk about how awesome they were in the 70s.
That's funny.
Hey, see if one of those will stick to you.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
See?
legit
does.
wearing. That's
You can't see. You got to
hilarious.
move the microphone. No, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
See, look, it just stuck. You could tell the whole story on you.
Yeah. That's
The
cool.
spaceship, an alien.
That's so cool.
Like you need to
went
take
to
that home,
space.
and you could tell the whole story to your kids using your shirt. They will think it's wild.
Oh yeah, they would love it. They would love it for sure.
Okay, you can Merry Christmas, Happy Easter, whatever. Just take that and tell a story on your shirt. They'll think you're the coolest ever. Okay, we're going to the story of Joseph, which is Genesis chapter 37, verse 1. We're going to start to read, and as we get to interesting things, we're going to tell you. Dwayne, really quick, let's just check in on you. Flannelgraphs, you know what they are? You grew up with them?
No,
What?
no.
In the South, you didn't
Nope.
go to a church that used flannel boards?
I didn't go to church when I was younger.
Oh, there it is. You missed out. See? You came late to the game, but you're in the game now. That's all that matters.
That's it.
Me either, Dwayne.
Been
it's
there.
okay.
I'm drinking all my vegetables while
Do what you
Fruit.
can.
while we're in here today. Okay, let's read. I better close
Do
that in
what
case
you
I knocked
can.
it over. All right, here we go. Genesis chapter 37, verse 1. So Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. Okay, who's his father? Lil?
Jacob and Esau, their dad.
Yeah, who is it? We don't know?
forget.
We forget. Dwayne, do you know who his
It's
dad
not
is?
It's not. The one who
Anyone?
laughed.
Joey's like, hey, pass.
No, I do know.
Okay, you keep working on it.
I-
What
Isaac.
Dwayne knows. Dwayne
thought-
knows.
Dwayne, do you know?
Isaac.
One of Jacob's.
Isaac.
Isaac. Who is Abraham's son?
I cheated.
I cheated.
Joseph.
Yeah, you were off screen long enough that you could look it up, didn't you? That's awesome.
It's like, let me look back here. and
Yeah. See, that was one of the things Dwayne talked about, being in studio versus there. It's the reaction is immediate here, whereas he has some time.
Right.
He's got some wiggle room. It's good. Okay. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, he often tended the father's sheep or flocks. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. I don't know. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. Okay, there's already a whole bunch of problems. Sounds like favoritism, right? Would you go there, Lil?
Yeah.
Are you, you're just staring up at
I was thinking.
Yeah. Joey.
Yep. That does. I was typing the chapter that we were in.
Okay, let's just
But no.
go back.
Yeah, no.
Sounds like favoritism.
Yeah, sounds like
Okay,
favoritism. Let's move on.
Let's keep going.
Yeah. So favoritism, like, is that a healthy thing?
No,
No,
I'm
absolutely
trying to
not.
think of a time where it could be okay, but no.
Does
I mean,
have we ever read
can like
anywhere
your
else in the Bible
favorite
that talks
ice
about
cream.
favoritism?
Yeah, doesn't Jesus talk about it? You know what? That's why we got
How about
Google.
Dwayne? Do you have a favorite child? Do you have 3 of them?
No. Favoritism, no bueno.
No bueno. So
James says if you show favoritism, you commit sin.
okay, so it is
So
a
it's
big
just-
deal.
Yeah.
But why would it be a sin? And the reason I asked the question, I knew James said that, but it's a big deal. Like, as a follower of Jesus, one of the things is to not play favoritism. So what is favoritism? Maybe we should boil it. Dwayne, how would you define favoritism?
Let's see. I would say favoritism is giving special treatment or special attention to someone. Giving special treatment or special privileges to someone.
Okay. Do we like that?
Unfairly?
Special
This says
treat.
partiality or bias. Favoritism is showing partiality or bias. It's similar.
Okay, so
to
is
what
there
he's
a
saying.
good form, like, is there a good form, maybe somebody in the chat can answer it, is there a good form of something that's close to favoritism, but it's not? It could be perceived as favoritism.
Close.
Well, I mean, I think
Close? Yes, Dwayne?
yeah,
What did you
closeness.
say?
I mean, as a teacher, I deal with a lot of kids each day, and it's like you often get like, oh, you're showing favoritism. It's like
I get that too.
as a parent, you have kids at different ages. So it's like, okay, favoritism. It's like just because it's different treatment doesn't necessarily mean that it's unfair. So I think that's where a lot of people think just because I push, I try to parent differently to my kids based on their, different strengths and weaknesses. That comes across as being favoritism, I guess.
Right.
Ooh, I think
No.
that's good. I think that's really a good way to say, because I think in our culture today, we just, Joey, I heard you kind of say, yeah, as a teacher, kids always saying you're playing favorite to one kid over another.
Right.
You agreed with that clearly.
100%.
Okay.
Do-
But what's at the root for us to think that that's favoritism and not the reality? Is it the victim mentality?
Yeah, insecurity, selfishness, I would say.
So the reason we're pausing here in the story is because I think one of the first enemies to our dreams is this viewpoint that somebody's favoring someone over you. I mean, how many times do people go, no, I just didn't get my shot. That person got the promotion, not me. I deserved it, but the boss liked them more. You know how many times I hear that when somebody's talking about their job scenario? They just tell, oh, no, they would never say as an adult, you don't use the word favorite because that's so high school. But you use words like, no, they were buddy, and so they got a promotion over me. I deserved it, but they didn't.
Right. Favorite isn't actually used in the corporate world as much because it does seem immature, but it still comes out.
It's the same type of.
Yeah.
Right, but I think it's one of the first enemies to our dreams is that we have ideas when we're little of what we want to be, or maybe you've got a God vision of your life. You know what God wants you to do with your life, and you let it get robbed by you being the thief in the story, going, no, it's not fair. I didn't get the promotion, and so because of that, I'm going to put myself on the bench instead of going, no, at some point I'm going to get my shot. I'm going to be put in. God's going to, I think God's sovereignty is bigger than some boss in some coworker being buddy or favoritism. I think we give too much credit to people. When we don't get a promotion, it's typically God's got bigger plans, but what we do is we quit. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, most of us have quit on our
you
dreams,
can't
so
see
you
it.
don't get to see the dream come to fruition, because we are fast-paced everything. We want it now. We just do. We don't want to wait. I mean, before 2020, here in the Twin Cities, we could order stuff from Amazon and it would be here in 2 hours. I mean, anything in 2 hours you could get it. I mean, that was
nice.
That's crazy.
it was wild. 2 hours you had
never even
your
knew that.
groceries or you had whatever. It was like, but then pandemic happened and it's all switched. That's not the case anymore. But boy, when you see that, it's like immediate gratification. We don't want to do the hard work. We just give up too much. The minute we hit an obstacle, we stop. Or when we feel favoritism at play, well, you're going to see what happens with favoritism on the other side, because right now Joseph is the favorite one. This guy that we're reading about, Jacob, he's got all kinds of issues. Jacob and Esau, they were brothers. It's a wild story. And Jacob impersonated his brother. It's a wild story. His brother was super hairy, apparently, because that's how it was told in the story.
Yeah.
And so Jacob put a fleece of something on, like an animal fur.
Yeah.
And let
But
his
it's because his dad was blind. He was just really old.
and he wanted his dad's blessing.
Yeah.
So he shows up with the fur on. His dad touches it and then lies that it's him. Deceives his dad, and then his dad touches his hand thinking it's the oldest brother, and he gives all the rights to Jacob. It's a wild story. So this guy, he's been in the stories a lot. That's why it's when you read this is the account of Jacob and his family. As much as Joseph is the main character in this story we're about to read, but this account in chapter 37 is about Jacob's family and actually how messed up it is.
Yeah.
Because right now we know that he's playing favorites. Favorites is wrong. So if you're doing that, if you're a teacher or you got a coworker, you're like, I have favorite people to work with. What happens is you start dividing. You start segregating from people you don't like to the people I am comfortable with. Now, I know there's a tension there because somebody's going to go, well, no, that's just me guardrails and taking care of myself. Maybe so. But what also that is also down the road or a path of playing favorites or not loving your enemy or all the other things that we are supposed to work on as well. So that's not the conversation today. It's just an interesting deal, okay? So we pick up where one day, Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him. One night, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers about it, they hated him more than ever. Listen to this dream, he said. We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around me and bowed down before mine. And his brothers responded, so you think you will be our king, do you? Do you actually think you will reign over us? And they hated him all the more because of this dream and the way he talked about them. So Joseph had another dream. And again, he told his brothers about it. Listen, I had another dream. He said, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down before me. This time he told the dream to his father as well as his brothers, but his father scolded him. What kind of dream is that? He asked. Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down before you? But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what the dream meant. Let's pause there. Let's happen. Some would say, based on what you just read there, and if you know the story, some would say it's unwise to share your dream with people. Do we think that? Do you think when we have God-sized dreams that are like, I'll use the word audacious. I like that word. Bigger than, like, it's just huge, right? There's no way I can accomplish this on my own. It's a bit like Joseph's dream. He has two. There's nothing he can actually do. There is like harm. He could threaten his family to make them bow down, but that's not what he's saying. There's no, like they even said, there's no way we're bowing down. Mm-hmm. So when you're telling dreams that are like audacious, should you keep them to yourself? And then one day say, I dreamt of this and look what God did?
No.
Why do you say it so fast?
Because, well, there's a lot to it, I guess, but I don't know. It could be like the concept of showing your cards and being real with people, and then they really get to be a part of the dream that God ultimately orchestrated in the first place. Like, it's not your dream to keep to yourself if God gave it to you.
That's a good one. It's not your dream to keep to yourself. Dwayne, what do you think? Should you share your big dreams with people?
I think there's wisdom into obviously who you're sharing your dreams with and the manner in which you're sharing your dreams. Joseph here probably wasn't the wisest in the way the way he went about sharing his dream. I think that definitely shows some youth there. So
17 years old.
Yeah. I think it is important to share your dreams, but just knowing that, okay, hey, these are the people I'm sharing it with. Now, he had family, like he's sharing it with his family. So you think that, hey, these are the people that, you could share your dreams with, but at the same time, understanding the family dynamics there is maybe not all the time the best to share it with family.
Yeah, I that's a fair way to make sure you know who the audience you're sharing with, but the dynamics of that relationship. Like, I think you should share 100%, but it's to the right audience. And sometimes, even when you share it, sometimes dreams that are big can be minimized when it's a text. I think you want to hear people's dreams. Let's flip it though. Okay, so Joseph has a dream. He's excited about it, right? When God gives you a dream, right? Isn't this what people are praying for? I want to know my why. Mm-hmm. We're all about our what's though. We like, what are you going to do after school? But really, it's the why. Why was I created? A God-sized dream is the why to the what. What is it, or why, what's your purpose? You're like, well, you just asked a big question. But like, when you get a God-given dream, all of a sudden you have purpose. And that's why I want to spend a couple weeks talking about dreaming again and having God-sized dreams that impact more than just you. It's not building your kingdom. And I think that when you get those God-sized dreams, you got to run it through some people. So, when you hear crazy, audacious dreams, how should we handle that? What's the response? Else? Yeah, let's say, we'll use one that all of us were in, Dwayne, Joey, and Lily and I, when I came up with the idea of the Great Lake Race. That's a small dream that I felt like we should do. Mm-hmm. That's not like my why. It was just what I felt we should do, and I share it. Well, how did everybody respond? Did everybody go, how could we, like, what should your response be when people share big dreams?
I mean, what it should be, I think it should be encouragement, like encouraging the person towards their dreams and not putting it down or saying that's crazy, like that's too big. I think that because the enemy can use that to discourage the person. So I think encouragement is probably the first thing that you should do.
Okay. Like, go get it?
Like that? Yeah, go get after it. Like,
okay. What do you think, Dwayne? Like, when we were talking about the Great Lakes, 24 hours, all Great Lakes, paddleboard and one wheel. Is it how to it, or is it what should be somebody's response when sharing big ideas or big dreams?
Sure. So going back to that trip, like I remember, I want to say we were sitting around your table when we were discussing this, and it's like, there's definitely like, okay, hey, this is what you feel, this is your big dream, okay, all right, so that's good. Let's talk through some details and let's have a discussion and let's look at let's say practical, like in this situation, okay, hey, is it possible? And then how can we make it work? So I think it was definitely some hard questions. I say hard questions. It was definitely some logistical questions surrounding that, some clarification. And then but I think everyone around the table was met with, okay, like Joey said, supportive, and how can we help? How can we make this happen?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like when you say encouragement, Joey, I do think what you're saying is what he's putting the meat to the encouragement of asking. Like I think it always a dream should be met with wow first, not how. Like, wow, could you and dream with somebody? Well, that'd be so cool if that was possible. That would be so much fun. Oh my gosh. And you just dream it. You get dreaming with them. And then you start moving, because at some point to make dreams take place, you got to get to the how. And then the next step is, so it's like three things you got to do when you're hearing somebody's big idea or dream. Wow. Move to how. Finally, I'm in it with you. Here's how I will help. So you get you get wow, how, and I'm in it with you. Now that doesn't mean you like again using the Great Lakes race that we did, and you can go see it on my YouTube channel. Some of you, like Katie, is saying she lives up by Huron. That's probably the prettiest of all the lakes.
Pretty.
But there were so many more people that were involved in it. And that's what I love about when you have a genuine idea that gets past you and more people jump in. It becomes more fun. A little bit more work because now you got more moving parts. But we ended up with Joey, Dwayne, me, Lily, Holly, Michaela. Is that it that we had in there?
Abijah.
An Abijah. I
Abijah.
couldn't remember which trip he made it on. Yeah, an Abijah.
Yeah,
And it was a blast.
it was.
It was a lot of work, but it was a blast. But that's because I knew who to share it to, and I knew that they weren't going to come and just beat me up over that's the dumbest idea. Who's ever thought of that idea? No, it's like, that is a crazy idea. Wow, that'd be so cool if we could pull that off. And then we started dreaming of how do we do that. Dwayne started putting a map together and all this stuff.
On that, the order you just said, and this is what I was thinking of when we were saying the order, you just said, wow, I'm in this. How can we dream this up? And the how was last. Just
No,
now.
yeah, you can either one of those. But I think you want to go, wow, help in the how and be in it with them. Don't
Right, so
just
it's kind of like intertwined.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of
'Cause
go together.
I remember even at times when we've even when we've planned for big events, and Holly and I, not the girls, but some of the other people in the office will be like, how right away. And Scott, you'll be like, don't ask how, like, let's do this. Let's figure it out together. Not just like, how are you going to do this? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want to make the point, like, don't be a reactor, someone like, how? Or like, how is that even possible? Because that immediately communicates you're not in it with them and you don't believe that it was a God-given dream.
But I think that what happens in the process of some people's minds, you're hearing what I said and you're like, no, I can't wow because I'm realistic. Well,
Right.
that
Some
is
people-
a cop-out of doing the work to be wowed by God-given dreams. When people say I'm realistic, every dream that I read in the Bible falls outside the realm of realistic. Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Does that make
So
sense?
it's almost like, do you believe in the spiritual
Power.
Yeah,
power
that God
of things?
can, like,
it's like I would more question your relationship, right? Because yeah, it's like there's power in the spiritual realm and of what God can do in and through a group of people.
through a group of people. That's awesome. That's so well said. Is
Yeah, I agree.
that one individual very hard to make an impact and get things done. It's usually very centered on an individual. But when a team comes into a dream and helps it work, it's like. But I want my own dream. You know what's so great about when somebody starts talking about their dream? People come along and go, I had the same idea. I want to help. And it's like the wise get Velcroed together to get the whole thing to work. That's the beauty of it. It's like sometimes you're the one championing the dream and other people are coming and going, that's the same dream I have. Let's come together. Let's merge together to see it get done. The Great Lakes thing, you know what's so cool about the Great Lakes? And you see it in some of the editing. There were so many people's lives we were impacting on the way. We got that individual got him not stuck. We got him unstuck on the beach.
Yeah.
We had so many good conversations. It was just bigger than just a YouTube video idea. Mm-hmm. It was really us being a light in the darkness as we did something wild and we're able to put it online and inspire people to dream big dreams, accomplish great things. But it's not going to be easy. So, yeah, I think you got to tell it. I think Jen said this earlier, Jen Woodham. She said his tone is probably what got him in trouble of how he shared it. You know, you can read that like, hey, I had this dream and here's this, you know, my grain stood up and your grain fell and worshiped me and I'm awesome and you suck, right? Now that's a fight. If it comes with humility of like, hey, can you help me figure out this dream? And I think sometimes God gives us this idea of a dream, like sometimes young, and we don't know what to do with it. And so we mishandle it, and that's okay. It's just understanding that there's a right way to handle these big dreams, and there's the right people to tell. I have a feeling if he would have told, I have a feeling, this is just speculation, I bet you if he told his dad, just his dad alone, Dad, I had this dream, what do you think this is? I think his dad says something different to him. But because it was in front of the brothers and probably came off cocky, I got 2 older boys. They're teenagers. They tend to say all things a little bit like they want to fight you. Like, I'm always like, do you want to fight? Like, no, I was just being funny, Dad. I was like, oh, because it felt like you were like, you're doing this. You're puffing up like, I got you. I'm going to get you. And they just say it with a little bit, Epic's over there smiling, with a little bit of like angst in what they're saying. It's just they don't know how they're saying it. And I figure at 17 years old, getting these 2 dreams, he's probably doing some version of that. And I think to Jen's point, I think that was great. So you got to have a God-sized dream. You got to tell people.
Yeah. And the response when someone tells you.
Yeah, you got to understand that you don't tell me you're a realist. No, because you read through Scripture. If you are a follower of Jesus, you got to be wowed by what he's calling us to do. Mm-hmm. We sing songs all about it, being called into the deep, but I want answers before I get there. Get off the bench. Get in the game. It literally sucks to be benched. I mean, it just does. Like, I mean, I'm sure, Lily, you played, you say we played cheerleading?
We played cheerleading. When does one get benched?
Yeah, do you get benched in cheerleading?
No, like in a normal game. When does one get benched?
If you're horrible.
Oh, okay. I got benched.
Oh, sorry.
When I got in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's your
and
punishment.
when I got injured.
You got in trouble? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have time to get in that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, injured. I wouldn't call that being benched.
That's not the same.
You're,
right?
you're injured, so
that's
you're out
why
of the
I
game.
was confused. When I was in trouble, yes.
Yeah, it's discipline.
Yeah, it sucked. It'll teach you a lesson.
Joey,
right
you
there.
ever go from like starting position to benched? Or in the game and then benched?
Yeah, in the game, then benched. Yeah.
And were you like, whoa, this is awesome, I love it?
No,
it sucks to watch the game.
It feels like crap.
That you should be in. How about you, Dwayne? You ever been benched in any of the sports you played?
Yes. I don't know. I'm not as good of an athlete as Joey and Lily. So,
Oh my gosh.
what I see from a coaching perspective is a lot of the times when like I see potential in the kid and they don't actually live up to that potential, like they're doubting themselves. They're living with a fear of making a mistake. And it's like, okay, hey, if the only way that you're not going to make a mistake is if you're on the bench. So go out and give it everything. And if you make a mistake, that's great. Learn from it and move on. But if you're afraid of making a mistake, right, fail fast, yeah. If you're afraid of making a mistake, then the only way that you're not going to make a mistake is that if you're on the bench and not in the game.
Yeah, don't take it like literally. Most of us are benching us in the game of life. At some point, you had a big dream, and you don't think you can do it, so you bench yourself. Or a storm is happening in your life, and you just bench yourself. The quickest way through storms is to turn right into the storm and walk through it. Because if you try to outrun a storm, storms catch up to you. Now you're in the storm longer. You got to turn your little booty around and go straight into the storm.
That's good.
Because the storm will move past you and you through it faster. But most of us, we try to outrun the storm. We really look like morons trying to get out of a storm where it's like, no, just go through it. Learn what you need to. Fail fast. Get up and fail fast again. It's just part of the nature of dreaming big dreams and accomplishing great things. I mean, us starting at Unlock Church, we got a longer list of fails than we do wins. When I get a chance to speak in front of people who are going to start a church, I start with all of our fails. Here we go. Let me give you all the places we've made mistakes, but we learned. Because what we hear oftentimes when people do have big dreams, we only hear the highlight reel. It's. I've used this before. I'll tell it faster, but it's just the analogy that pops in my mind. I enjoy playing in water. I love skimboarding and I love surfing. And I'm not very good at surfing, but I like it. I like getting out there. And man, I could spend 5-6 hours out there and come in and somebody's like, "How's the waves today?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's awesome." Like, it was so amazing. I got on one wave. I rode it all the way back in. It was so good. And I talk about that one wave. I didn't talk, well, I paddled around for 5 hours. I didn't wear my shirt, so my nipples were raw because of the wax on the board, and the salt in this sea is really stinging them. I thought a shark almost bit me, but that didn't happen. I did almost drown at one point because I didn't get up on I don't share any of those things. I share the success. And that's what we do a lot in life, is we just hear all the success and don't realize that when there's success being told to a dream, it is built upon failures or walking through storms and not quitting. Okay, let's get back to because I want to get through his story here. This is just a setup. So he's got the big dream. I think we're at verse 12. Sooner after this, Joseph's brothers went to pasture their father's flock at Shechem. When they had been gone for some time, Jacob said to Joseph, "Your brothers are pasturing the sheep in Shechem. Get ready, and I will send you to them." "I'm ready to go," Joseph replied. "Go and see your brothers and the flocks, how they're getting along," Jacob said. "Then come back and bring me a report." So Jacob sent him on his way, and Joseph traveled to Shechem from their home in the valley of Hebron. Now, this is all facts-checking stuff. Like, we had time. There's a map that shows you the journey he takes here. We don't have time for that. You hopefully will do some research. Verse 15. When he arrived there, a man from the area noticed him wandering around the courtyard. "What are you looking for?" he asked. This already right here, this kind of confirms Jen's speculation on he's a 17-year-old not figuring crap out. Like, he's literally like wandering around. Like, what are you doing in town if they're pasturing, right? It's like, shouldn't they be with the flocks kind of deal? Like, come on, man. You gotta figure it out. "I'm looking for my brothers," Joseph replied. "Do you know where they are pasturing their sheep?" "Yes," the man told him. "They have moved from here, but I heard them say, 'Let's go to Dothan.'" I don't know how to say that, but it sounds great.
Whatever. Dothan.
Dothan?
I bet it would be like an off.
So Joseph followed his brothers to Dothan and found them there. Okay, here we go. When Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him in the distance. As he appeared, they made plans to kill him. They noticed him because he's wearing that coat that his dad gave him, which probably just salted in the wound to the brothers. Here's this guy, big dream, big dreamer. Like, that's funny how it is. When people have big dreams, though, you do got
they get a bad rap.
And people want to knock them down. Like, why do what makes it our job as humans to your head's in the clouds, man. We got to bring you down. We do that because if they dream and accomplish it, we feel guilty for not. We should be promoters. God will humble the pride out of people. So let God do his job, and I'm not God. So today's conversation is about you dreaming big dreams, but also when you hear big dreams from other people that are God-given, encourage them. Don't try to bring them down from the clouds. You should go, "Wow, how?" 2 times. How? 2 times. How squared.
How squared.
How can I help? And how's this going to be?
Yeah.
"Here comes that dreamer," they said. "Come, let's kill him and throw him into one of those cisterns. We can tell our father a wild animal has eaten him." Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams. Dream killers, man. They're awful. But when Reuben heard of this scheme, he came to Joseph's rescue. Let's not kill him, he said. Why should we shed any blood? Let's just throw him into the empty cistern here in the wilderness. Then he will die without our laying a hand on him. Reuben was secretly planning on rescuing Joseph and returning to his father.
Is Reuben one of the brothers?
Yeah. So, when Joseph arrived, his brothers ripped off his beautiful robe he was wearing. They grabbed him and threw him into the cistern. Now, the cistern was empty. There was no water in it. Just as they were sitting down to eat, could you imagine that? What kind of dudes are these guys? They beat his brother up, throw him in a cistern, and then eat lunch right by it.
Yeah, that was a weird transition.
But I'm just saying that's weird. The brothers are like, are you kidding? Like, it just tells you how nasty they are. And how no sympathy, no compassion, no mercy. I don't think I could throw somebody into a cistern. Which a cistern is.
Yeah.
Joey wanted to know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a well, it's like a manhole. That's what I picture.
Yeah, all those are very true. It's like when you drive down, if you're in South Florida and you have all the canals where the water is. Imagine the canals dried out in Florida.
Oh, that is not what I was.
Notice it says it's dry. You notice like all the where all the culverts are here on the streets. You know what I'm talking about?
Like
The dips,
ditches?
the ditches. That's what it is.
Okay.
Just bigger.
Okay.
And it's dry. You tracking me now?
Yeah, still picturing what I pictured before.
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
I
You
think
can.
it's the
I'm
same
sure they're
picture.
somewhere involved in that. But but they're eating next to him. They don't care. They're giant or they're dream killers, and they're cool with it. I mean, you got to imagine, Joseph for a moment here. He's beaten up. His brothers absolutely hate him. He's aware of it now. They want to kill him. Just as they were sitting down to eat, they looked up and saw a caravan of camels in the distance coming towards them. It was a group of Ishmaelites. Is that how you'd say that, Lil? Traders taking a load of balm, aromatic resin from Gilead down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What would we gain by killing our brother? We'd have to cover up the crime. Instead of hurting him, let's sell him to those Ishmaelite traders. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." And his brothers agreed. So
Let's not kill him, but let's.
what's that?
It's just funny. Let's not kill him, but let's sell him.
Yeah.
After all, he's our brother. Like what?
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't, so the Ishmaelites who were Midianite traders came by Joseph's brother, pulled him out of the cistern, and sold him to them for 20 pieces of silver. I try to look up what 20. Can somebody find, like, if you got 20 pieces of silver, how much money is that today?
Yeah.
And if they asked the question, I'm going to assume it's like 20 pieces of like coins, not like bricks. And the trader took him to Egypt. Sometime later, Reuben returned to get Joseph out of the cistern. When he discovered that Joseph was missing, he tore his clothes in grief. Then he went back to his brothers and lamented. The boy is gone. What will I do now? Then the brothers killed a young goat and dipped Joseph's robe into the blood. They set the beautiful robe to their father with a message. "Look at what we found. Doesn't this robe belong to your son?" Their father recognized it immediately. "Yes," he said, "it is my son's robe. A wild animal must have eaten him. Joseph has clearly been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and dressed himself in burlap. He mourned deeply for his son for a long time. His family all tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "I will go to my grave mourning for my son." He would say that, and then he would weep. Meanwhile, the Midianite traders arrived in Egypt, where they sold Joseph to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Potiphar was the captain of the palace guard. And we're going to pause there. A lot happened there. One big thing I want to point out, and we alluded to it earlier with Jacob and Esau and the hairy arm. Jacob just reaped what he sowed. You know what, Dwayne, when I say that, Jacob, the dad, reaped what he sowed in this portion of the story. What am I referring to?
I mean, are you referring to him tricking his brother out of the family and the birthright?
Okay, that's great. That is also one of them. Also, where he tricked or deceived his own father. Mm-hmm. He just was deceived by his own sons. He reaped what he sowed. I think when we think of the reaping and sowing thing that Jesus talks about, I think we think it's immediate. But this is, I don't know the time frame, but I'm going to guess that Jacob was a teenager when he did the birthright stealing and deceived his dad. So you fast forward, he's old now and got a son, 17. We're talking, I'm going to guess, I'll give it 40 years. And he's now reaping the bad he sowed in his dad's relationship. What do we think when I talk about that? He just reaped what he sowed.
I heard this concept recently, and it's kind of cool that we're in Genesis. Genesis means the beginning of something, and I heard this concept of like there's a genesis to everything in life, that there's the beginning to it, and you don't know where it ends, and oftentimes you just take stuff with you. And I think that's why it's so important to figure out your stuff and like tie it up if you need to tie it up, or stay in it if you need to stay in it, because it will come with you. And this is a perfect example of that, what Jacob did and lied about his birthright being owed to him. It just, stuff doesn't end like when you think it ends, you know?
Yeah, because you forget about it.
You forget about it.
You got away with it.
Has consequences. Everything is cause and effect in life. Everything.
You reap and sow your way to everything. Like happiness.
You can't see it.
You sow and reap to happiness. You can't buy happiness. You can get pleasure for a moment. It's always like this idea. This is from Jesus idea. You reap what you sow. What you put in, you get out. It's just not, you don't get to choose the harvest.
Right.
That's the mystery to all of this. There's no, like we look at reaping and sowing in farming, and that's the illustration, but you see the time frame. You're like, you sow in spring and you reap in the fall. It's months. But when it comes to matters of the heart, the reaping portion is not immediate. There's no, like, I don't know the end point. I can't even give you the rhythm to it. It's just, it is what it is, like 40 odd years or more. Here he is, he's reaping what he sowed. So look in your life. What have you sowed? Now you're like, well, what do I do with that? Like, you're telling me I've already done bad things, or I heard other people, I'm going to reap that back? I can't answer that, okay? But what you can do is repent, ask forgiveness. It doesn't remove consequences.
Right.
But it does start making your heart better so that you will not continue to reap negatively by sowing negatively. Meaning people that irritate you and you blow up on them, well, what do you expect is going to happen to you?
Right. And the beautiful thing about it is the concept is also true for good things. If you sow faith seeds that you're believing for something, or like I've just watched Scott and Holly like sow so much and reap good things on the other side. It could be health. It could be just whatever it is. And so the beautiful thing is if you start to reap sow Jesus principles, sow goodness into the world, be kind, and just be consistent in that, you're going to reap it in a certain way. And we can't decide how or what that looks like, but we get to choose what we sow.
Yeah. Here's the crazy bit about sowing or reaping and sowing. When you sow, when there's a harvest, it's more than what you sowed. Like good and bad. So the pain that when you read through the story with Jacob deceiving his dad, there was pain involved, but it's not, I lost my son. Now you fast forward and Joseph is thought to be dead. The deceit produced a greater pain in his life because when you sow, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. Your harvest will be greater, good and bad. Yes, Lily.
What's that thing in science that's like, Elizabeth, you're going to come in clutch here. For every negative reaction, there's an equal and opposite something. You guys know what I'm
Reaction. That's Newton's
saying? Dwayne
laws
has it.
of
Wait,
physics.
hold on. We got to hear Dwayne.
It's one of Newton's laws.
Newton's law. What does it say?
Yeah, for every action, there's an equal. I don't know the exact one. I know it's
Somebody's
one of
already
Newton's laws,
Googled
like
it and probably put it in the chat.
Newton's fourth law, maybe.
He's calling it the fourth law. While we're looking that one up, people did do a little bit of research here. Jimmy Shearer is telling us that the price of silver today for what their brothers would have got for their brother Joseph is $200.
Yeah,
And he just wants to make sure everyone knows it's illegal to sell your sibling. Thank you for anyone that might walk out of here today and think about selling their sibling. Epic, don't do it. Don't sell your sibling. But which one would you sell? Don't answer that question, but tell me. No, don't do it. You were going to answer it, weren't you? Oh my gosh. You can't answer that question. That's playing favoritism.
I'm not really sure why that came to my mind. There's no like tie-in, but
It's just a rabbit trail.
it's the third law, and
Ooh.
it says, for every action in nature, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I feel like maybe we could tie it in.
No, that's not it, because we're talking about reaping and sowing. Like I just planted,
opposite one
Holly and
doesn't really
I, we are trying to grow a massive garden, so we've planted 200 vegetable plants from cauliflower, broccoli, green beans, sugar snap peas, jalapeno peppers, other peppers.
You already planted them?
Yeah, they're growing inside, not outside. We're starting them inside.
Yeah, they're
But
good.
out of 200, the harvest, if we can do, is going to be more than 200. Like we're trying to plan enough to share to anybody in this room. When you come over to the studio, make sure you grab some tomatoes and cilantro and onions and go
Okay.
make your own.
Will do.
So, but why? Because the principle, you know it to be true. It is not 1-to-1 ratio in reaping and sowing, or sowing and reaping. That is true in our life. And so I just want to pause there in this story. We got this dreamer who is now sold to slavery. Egypt. They were, where were they? Where do they live? Anyone? Where does Jacob live? Ever heard of the
Canaan?
Jacob Well?
Jacob's Well.
Why do they call it the Jacob's Well?
Because they live in Jacob.
They live in Jacob.
City of Jacob.
The city of Jacob. There, you might get there. But where's the well of Jacob?
Jerusalem?
Was that a question?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. No, I'm
Jacob
looking.
settled in the land of Canaan.
Which is Canaan is also known as.
Israel.
That's the whole country. Closer to what?
Jerusalem.
Yeah, I'll
That's what
take
I'm-
that as your final answer. I will take
That's my answer.
just outside Jerusalem. They're around that neck of the woods.
And Jacob's Well was,
Just remember the Jacob's Well with the Samaritan woman?
oh yeah,
Yeah, just outside the city.
the city walls. Yep.
Right. Okay. Trying to put it all together for everybody in this room,
And you all at home.
in all at home. Yes, it's. I don't know if we're making sense. We should really bring in maps for you. But now all of a sudden, his dream of parent and siblings bowing down to him, he's in Egypt. I don't know the miles between. Will you please? How far is? Do we know actually in Egypt where he is? But we know he's Egypt. So how far is from Jerusalem to Egypt? How many miles is that? Because now
696 kilometers.
Great. I don't know that math.
Kilometers to miles.
Yeah. Now you're doing kilometers, miles. My goodness. Why?
432 miles.
Okay, back then that's forever.
That's far.
I mean, what did it take? A month?
You have to walk.
Did it say that? It was a month's journey? Did I make that up? Meanwhile, the traders arrived in Egypt and sold his brother. I must have made that up. So 400 some miles
Take
takes
a
a
long time.
long time. Now all of a sudden he's so far from his dream.
Oh, it takes so long.
It feels like his dream's dead. last thing I want to say as we wrap up this today is your God-given dream usually has to go through a season of death. And that's where most people just drop it.
Why does it have to go through a season of death? Why might that be necessary?
Well, using seeds, the seed must die to produce fruit, if I understand the sowing principle right. The seed goes under the earth. Dwayne, am I quoting that correctly? Maybe Elizabeth could walk out the door and go, we are way off on that. But Jesus talks about that the seed has to die. Look up Jesus. What are your thoughts on all this, Dwayne?
I mean, I track. Like, yeah, I think it's interesting that, you know, for someone for the unbelievers, a lot of times they look at the Bible and it's like, okay, well, I can't do that, or, you know, God is not going to use me, or I'm not good enough, or, you know, I make too many mistakes. But it's like, oh, the Bible is like, people has made mistakes, and it's tragedy, and it's like real life of, you know, just people going through stuff and God just using it in ways that we think is outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, again, I hope we're inspired. Again, today's a little bit more application-y kind of deal. Yesterday is like, yeah, let's get locker room talk. Today is like, what are you going to do about it? Stop blaming it on everybody else while you're not doing something. Get it to work. And when you feel like your dream's dying, it's part of the process. Lily, you found it where Jesus says...
I did. John 12:23, Jesus replied, "Now the time has come for the Son of Man to enter into his glory. I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat is planted in the soil and dies, it remains alone. But its death will produce many new kernels, a plentiful harvest of new lives."
That's what I'm saying. There's
cool.
why when the dream dies, it's process. It's the process in the journey. When it's a God-given dream, it feels like, I mean, every time, 21 times in the Bible, somebody fell asleep and had a dream. And they woke up, and then you read through the story, you're like, this dream, how is this ever going to accomplish? It feels dead. So if your dreams, you had a dream, and it died, and you just left it there, you haven't picked it back up, that's what I'm trying to say. Hey, it's time to do a little CPR on that dream. It's time to pick it up.
Revive it.
It's time to go back and revisit it. Despite your circumstances. I started with it. We'll wrap it up. Despite your circumstances, always find time to continue to dream. Even if you don't have resources, you don't know how. Etching things. I have right here a piece of paper. We're trying to, this will make no sense to you, but this is my, I want to build this there you go. I can tilt it and you can kind of see it. There's this is like a dock with 2 berms on it that'll be in the trails. I have no money to build it. I, at the moment, don't have any reason to spend time in there, but I drew it out the other night. I drew it what I want. Lily helped me measure it. I did all the research, what it's going to take to get the wood, if we make it 2 feet wide, 3 feet wide, 4 feet wide, what's it going to cost. Did all the research on what it's going to take so that when it's time, I'm ready to go. It feels, at the time I was drawing this, it felt real dead. Like, there's not a chance this is going to happen, but I'm going to be ready for when it's time.
Yeah, it's good.
And I have a whole bunch of dreams like that I feel like are God-given. Some are more adventures in the RV, going around, doing some crazy stuff. And it's like, it's just, they're dead for a moment. But that means they're not done. To produce something, it must die. To be bigger than just me. So maybe you need to get a dream booklet out and start dreaming again. Maybe some of you are like, man, I want to dream again. I want to dream about my yard or a house I'll live in and etch that out. Or you've been single for way too long. It's okay to start dreaming again. Start dreaming again, because in the process, you will dream great big dreams and accomplish great big things. That's it. I hope today you are motivated to dream again. Where if you want to cheat and keep reading ahead, you can go to Genesis chapter 39. Skip a chapter and you can start reading Joseph in Potiphar's house as he was sold into slavery there. I mean, can you get further from you're a slave now Can you imagine the journey that you have been sold for $200? Those merchants, when you read about history, they don't treat people kind. He's getting beat up. He's probably not eating much. He's dirty. I mean, he had no clothes on. They probably didn't clothe him. He's down. I mean, his dream is dead. So come back next week and we'll pick it up in this, and I hope you're inspired by it as we keep pointing things out. Let's pray. Jesus, may we just start dreaming again. May we pick up the dreams that we had for ourselves, our family, those dreams that impact the world, that are bigger than us. May we get back to it and not be discouraged. May we have a dream journal. May we just start going, wow, when we start feeling these ideas from you. Despite our circumstances, God, we're committed to dream again. We love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Everybody, thanks for hanging with us. Dwayne, thanks for being with us. Dwayne, can you tell people how they can give their tithes and offerings here at Unlock Church? Did we lose Dwayne? Dwayne, did you mute yourself?
We got it.
We got it. It's us. They're saying it's you. He's saying no. Okay, we're aborting that. It's got to be us. He's pointing.
Like, go back to you.
I don't know. Walk away. It does say on our screen, guest muted itself. That's what I'm translating to you.
I can do it.
But what probably happening is you're unmuting and we're muting you, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
just
both
like-
think it's not us. I don't know.
No,
So we'll let Lily, just because technology is failing us, Lil, tell them how they can give.
Yes. Thank you in advance for just your obedience to what God asks of us in his word, as he says to give a portion of your income to the church. You can text the word unlock to 77977, or you can go to unlockchurch.com/give. And that's how you do it.
And if you want to keep, we're so close to getting the computer. We're about $1,500 away or so. If you want to give to that, you can do the same way, same number. You can text the number 77977 and go to category See Need, Meet a Need, and that will go towards the laptop so that we can fix the problems around here as we are continuing to fight the good fight in those things. Thank you for everybody that's given to that. We love all of you. Have a splendid week. We'll be back here picking up right where we left off, hoping to inspire you to dream once again, everybody. Joey, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for your flannel board and shirt. Awesome.
Is it still
Absolutely.
No,
Thank
Dwayne,
you.
thank you for being with
Bye.
us. Oh, it's still muted. Something's not right. We were trying to send it off and we fixed it. He gave a,
What was that?
that's the kiss. Bye. They put you back
Why
on.
2 fingers?
What would you want him to do? Like you want him to blow a kiss?
That's weird.
That's weird. No, I think what he did was very
I don't
appropriate.
get it, but
Okay.
it's fine.
Everybody, have a fabulous Sunday. We love all of
everyone.
you. Bye.
See ya.